Hello fellow guitar geeks! In this box is a Harley Benton Fusion T with double humbuckers and a roasted maple neck. Let's have a look at what's inside the box. Yummy silica gel, some stickers. It has been checked by 224, so thank you 224. And what's that there? That is the truss rod adjustment and an Allen key. But here's the good stuff. Let's see if I can get this bag off without ripping it. So far so good. That's a beautiful roasted neck. Wow, okay. Now this is the tough part. Can I get it off without ripping the bag? Big reveal. Alright. Wow. I love unboxing stuff on camera because it's really hard to fake a reaction if you haven't seen the guitar before. That is a stunning looking, albeit rather familiar looking guitar. This is coming in at just under 400 euros, or this in pounds and dollars, because I can't calculate that in my head. In this video, I'm going to plug it in, of course, so we can hear the sounds. I'm going to check the specs, check the build quality, and at the end of the video, open it up, have a look inside, and let you know if I think you should buy it or not. My first impressions are that this is a very beautiful guitar. And not just in looks, it's beautiful to hold. That neck is apparently a modern C, but it feels a little deeper than a modern C. That feels more like a 60s sort of C, almost D. That's weird. That's better than I was expecting, because I like a nice thick neck. I don't like super slim necks, and that one is not fat, not thin. That is somewhere absolutely universally in the middle that should please most people. We've got a 1, 2, 3-way switch with master volume, master tone, and then on the tone, yes, we've got a color split. Always make sure to check before I go any further to see if anything splits or anything pops up to do something special. That means that we've got the two humbuckers, so standard Les Paul switching, so bridge, both together in parallel, neck. And then when we pull that out, it's going to split the coils, which will give us possibly the outer coil. I don't know. We'll find out when I plug it in. What else we got? We've got this roasted maple neck. That it's 400 euros, and that neck is far more beautiful than it should be. There's a little bit of dust on it, so I'm rubbing it up and down because there's still dust from it being packed, so it could do with a little wipe down. It's so dark and caramelly. That is, if you like smelling roasted maple necks, 10 out of 10 for the roasted mapleness of it. Locking tuners, there they are, so the pinwheel locking tuners, which should keep us in tune. We've got roller string trees and a Graphtec Tusk XL nut. Harley Benton is upping its game with the specs on these guitars. For 400 euros already, that's what I would have modded on a guitar anyway. So the Tusk XL nut, or just generally Graphtec Tusk nuts, are my favorite nuts, and they're lubricated, so as you know, they shouldn't do any pinging or sticking in the nut. We've got Roswell pickups, which are some of the main pickups that Harley Benton are using right now. So they used to use Wilkinson mainly, now they're using Roswell. This is 𝗚𝗡𝗡𝗏 in the bridge and 𝗚𝗡𝗡𝗏 also in the neck, so they're not the same humbucker, but they are both 𝗚𝗡𝗡𝗏s. I'm just looking up at the headstock, and I've noticed that they're staggered tuners, meaning that the low E is higher than the top E, meaning you've got a bit more tension going up on the top E and each string. That's a feature that is not normally on guitars of this price point. Again, Harley Benton giving you a lot for your money. What's going on down here? We've got a pretty standard jack output, so that's nicely done, no problems, just pretty standard. The bridge is a hipshot style bridge, so it's WSC, so it's a budget bridge, but it certainly doesn't look it, and I'm hoping it doesn't feel it. Yeah, the pickups are in slightly wonky, or the pickups are the wrong size for the guitar. That's not good. If I can get a close-up of this, you'll see that the bridge pickup, the pole piece for the 6th string, do not line up with the strings. I mean, the neck and the bridge are in line, but that pole piece is well below that low E string, that 1st string. And it's better, but it's also a similar story on the neck. So the pole pieces are starting to get a bit wider. So that I think that should be a 50mm pickup, and I think it's 52. I don't know if that's forgivable at this price point, but it's a real shame because it just doesn't fit aesthetically. And as I said, I don't know how it will affect the sound. Let's go back to something positive, shall we? Let's find, oh, the stainless steel frets. Medium jumbo stainless steel frets, 22 of them. So not quite the full 2 octaves, but more than a standard Strat, or Tele, I should say. And also this roasted maple fretboard is wonderfully dark and pretty and smells great. There's a little bit of roughness on the back of the neck here, and I'm not sure if it is dust or actual finish problem. So let's just wipe that off a little bit. Okay, it is a finish problem. It's not quite sanded to perfection, but that's the kind of sanding job that it's not rough at all, but if you were to play it for a number of hours, that would go away. So nothing really to worry about, and at €400, I'd like it to be better. The headstock's worse. Okay, the headstock, you're not going to be rubbing your finger on the back of the headstock, and that shouldn't be that rough. Again, not a game stopper, game killer, deal breaker, but it shouldn't be like that. It's come with 10 to 46 gauge strings, which look like D'Addarios. I'm sure they are, because Harley Benton tend to use D'Addarios a lot. We've got this wonderful carved heel, meaning that you can get up there quite nicely. There's no massive block of wood getting in your way. It's not the most ergonomic neck, but it certainly is sort of Ibanez AZ style, if not a little bit blockier than the Ibanez. And then I guess super important, which not many people talk about, is the strap buttons. Those are thick strap buttons that once you get a strap on there, that shouldn't fall off. So don't worry about dropping it. I don't think there'll be any issues there. Truss rod adjustment just there by the neck pickup and the 22nd fret. This is humbucker mode, everything at 10 bridge. Middle. So far, everything sounds a little bit flat. So, as I said with that mid-range, when it was unplugged, there was no real depth to the tone. And that's exactly what I'm getting when it's plugged in as well. The middle sounds a little bit muddy. Maybe that's not designed for cleans. Let's try the same thing again with the split coils. Middle split. First impressions for tone and clean is that it's not something that jumps out and says, wow, that's an amazing tone. From the playing perspective, it feels good. So it feels like a nice guitar, but I'm feeling let down a little bit by the lack of clarity. So it's really full, it's really thick, it's really muddy. This is not something I would use for a clean guitar. There's just not enough definition there. So let's plug it in to the SV20 and get some classic rock tones, I hope. The guitar's coming a bit more live through the Marshall. It's still lacking that overall. I mean, it's €400, and I don't want you to be thinking that this is a bad guitar for €400. It's a really, really good guitar. But it isn't the most tone-filled guitar in the world. There is a difference between a €400 guitar and a €1,000 guitar, and that's not just €600. I think at this point that the pickups are letting it down, or possibly the fact that that pole piece is not under the string. I don't know. We can argue that until the cows come home, but So far, I think the guitar feels nice. It's got some good specs on paper. It's going to stay in tune. I just think it's lacking in the tones. Let's try crunch with the single coils. Or I should say coil split. Okay, now there is coming alive. Let's just compare those two. So neck, single or split. Humbucker. Yeah, the humbucker, I'm not enjoying it. It's just too honky for my liking on that. I don't know if it's my playing style. It could be my playing style. Maybe if you're into smooth leads, this could be the guitar for you. Maybe that's what Harley Benton are going for. However, if you're after a rock machine, I don't think it's not my favorite Harley Benton. There are some great ones. This is not one of them in terms of tone. Am I being fair? I need to play some different stuff. I'll stop recording and play for a little bit and see if I can find something that's more representative of what Harley Benton might be going for here. I know it's a ridiculous thing to say, but I think this might be a lead guitar. I know there's technically not much difference, or is it semantically? There shouldn't be a difference between a rhythm guitar and a lead guitar, but some guitars lend themselves more to doing one of those other jobs. I think that if you want super rocky roll, versatile chord rhythm work, this wouldn't be the guitar for me. The pickups or the combination of the body and the pickups just don't bring forth what I feel is needed from a rhythm guitar. But some of these lead lines are coming out all right. Some of them are actually, I say all right, some of them are coming out well, even with me playing them. Yeah, there's thickness there, there's poke, there's that mid-range. And I had a look at the pickups, and if they are the pickups that I think they are, the Seraphim, then there's a lot of mid in those pickups, and also there's mid in the guitar. So I'm just not feeling the big sound or thin sound. It's somewhere in that mid-range. So if all the things that I'm saying and the sounds that you're hearing actually appeal to you, then I'm wrong or I'm right, depending on how you feel. Regardless, the sound for me is not something that I enjoy. I would at least want to change those pickups to something more open sounding. It's not a very open sounding guitar. That is not to say that it isn't a good guitar, because it's €400 and all the other things spec-wise are absolutely fantastic. It's also a fairly light guitar. It's one of the lightest Harley Bentons that I've played. It's not super featherweight, but it's not heavy. It is 3.3 kilograms, which is also in pounds, whatever that is. I'll put it on screen. I think I'm not doing this guitar justice in the sense that it is a good guitar. It's just not a great guitar. However, if you're coming to the world of guitar and you have €400 to spend, this is absolutely a great buy, because it's got all the things that a person who needs a reliable guitar it's got all those things. It's got locking tuners, it's got the stability and the playability. Playability is great. There's no issues there. A little bit of rough just here, but generally speaking, if I had that as a, I don't know, a second guitar, I bought my first €150 guitar or something like this, and then I wanted to upgrade and I had €400, absolutely fantastic. However, if you're picking up this thinking that you're getting a €1,000 guitar for cheaper, you're not. You're getting something that looks pretty, but doesn't quite have it in the tone department. Looks really pretty, I must say. This Engl burst, absolutely gorgeous, but lacking in tone. Let's just check the internal build quality. I will open it up and have a look inside. Right, so let's crack this back panel open. There we go. Right. Okay, not much going on in there. That's a big old space for not a lot of stuff in it. Wow. Okay, so we've got a large alpha pot. We've got the coil split pot just there. Is it also alpha? Also alpha. So fine. A large pot, a coil splitting pot that looks good, and a three-way switch that is actually really well soldered and nicely tidied up with the cables. Maybe too much cable going on there. They could have, maybe cut those cable a little bit shorter, because with longer cables comes more resistance. So let's have a little little look. There's a hole. Generally speaking, it's okay. Could have cut the cables a little shorter. Shut them quarter. I think I've said a lot about my views on the guitar, but to round it up, on paper, fantastic. In the feel, sort of good. There's that little bit of roughness on the neck that should be sorted, and the back of the headstock should not be that rough. There's been a little bit of work skipped there. But with Harley Benton, it smells amazing. But with Harley Benton breaking this in at €400, there will be a big variance in the quality of guitars, because it's €400. So I don't think all the guitars will have a rough headstock, for example. I do think that all guitars will have this, the pickup that's just not quite aligned. I think that's a design error. I don't think that's a good idea. I'm not sure if it's affecting the tone, but it is not good. Everything else is good to great. I mean, it's beautiful on paper, as I said. It's got all the right things. It's a real shame about that pickup, because even if it isn't affecting the sound so much, it's an oversight, which means, it wasn't designed properly. The sound is, for me, characterless, but, and fight me in the comments, it's not something for me. However, if this is a bad example of this guitar, then definitely get it, because it's €400 and it's an absolute steal for everything else. You can change the pickups, which I think would help a lot. If it's a middle to average example of this guitar, then still get it. Still get it. It's €400. If this is a good example, unbelievably, still get it, because it plays wonderfully. And it's much better than any guitar I had when I was playing. Well, that's not fair. I'm still playing €400 guitars. I'm thinking about a beginner or someone who's getting a second guitar. Absolutely get it. I even though I don't like the sounds, I still have to recommend it for €400, but don't expect more than €400. It's a positive review, you see, but not 100%. That's the end of the video, and you've made it to the end of the video club. To prove that you are a member of this prestigious elite, when you leave me a comment telling me what you think of this Harley Benton Fusion HH, please also include the phrase Engl burst. And that will let me know that you saw this part, and will indeed make the YouTube gods very happy. Finally, thank you to Harley Benton for sending this out for review, and thanks to you for watching. There are videos over there if you fancy more of me. If you fancy more of me in the future, there's a subscribe button down there. Otherwise, keep it guitar and keep it geeky. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.